So I have a theory that it's possible to reach the top 1% of any competitive game if you spend around 1,000 hours dedicated to improving. That doesn't mean just playing for 1,000 hours. That means deliberately practicing to improve, pushing yourself, thinking, learning, refining, and taking an active role in your own development. So with that theory, I'm going to test it out. I want to start a new challenge by focusing on improving at Valorant. So my goal is to reach Immortal, which is the top 1% of the competitive player base in Valorant. So others have done it in less than a year, and I do have a lot of experience with FPS games like Call of Duty, Apex Legends, and Aim Trainers, so I think I can do it, but I'm also brand new to tactical FPS games like Valorant or CSGO. So my plan is to play for around 20 hours per week on average. That's like a part-time job commitment, which I'm willing to put in. This is kind of my hobby, this little side hustle. I don't make any money off this channel yet, but I do want to take the channel a little bit more seriously and start putting out more weekly videos. So 20 hours per week for 1 year is around 50 weeks, so 20 times 50 is 1,000 hours. So I'm curious how good I can get with 1,000 hours of dedicated practice. Going from a beginner with some skills, you know, I have good aim, I have good, movement with the keyboard and my fingers. So I would call this the 1,000 hours challenge, but there's already a 1,000 hours challenge that tries to get children outside, which is literally the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep my kids inside. No, I'm trying to keep myself inside so that I can play more of a video game. Otherwise, I would name it the 1,000 hour challenge. And the thing is, if I do hit Immortal with less than 1,000 hours, I may switch to another game. I'll decide then. But I'm curious, you know, how good can I get with 1 year and 1,000 hours? So the biggest hurdle I think I'll face is going to be staying consistent and making sure that I maintain a solid mindset to keep playing even when I'm bored, when I'm frustrated, or I feel defeated. So back in 2021, I did a similar challenge where I played Aim Trainers intensely for around 7 months. So during that time, I went from an average player to being a Voltaic Grandmaster, which is a pretty high rank. I made videos documenting my journey with Aim Trainers if you're interested, and that's probably the reason that most of you are here right now subscribed, so thank you for sticking around. Appreciate you. But I learned a lot from my aim training journey. The most important lesson being that I have to stay consistent for a long period of time to really make big strides in improvement. I was pretty consistent for those 7 months when I was aim training, but I did take off weeks at a time and days off at a time, and I think it really slowed down my progress. So the way that I typically play games is I will obsess over them and play way too much for like several weeks, and I'll watch every video I can on the game and use every spare moment that I have to think about the game. And you can make a lot of progress quickly with this type of obsession, but it's just not sustainable long term. And I learned a lot from my aim training journey that you can hurt your hands if you do this, especially with aim training with how intense it is on your wrists. But I also work full time as an electrical engineer, so I'm using a mouse and keyboard quite a bit throughout my day, which means I need to be careful with how long I'm on the computer so I don't get repetitive stress injuries. And I also just want to live a healthy, happy, balanced life with plenty of time outdoors, you know, away from a screen. So to prevent burnout on this Valorant project, I'm gonna limit the amount of time that I play each day to around 2 to 4 hours at most. And if I miss a day, I'm not gonna like try to make up for it the next day. I'm just gonna get back on track and try to maintain it, you know, roughly an average of around 20 hours per week. So per day, what I wanna do, the plan for right now is to spend maybe 15 to 30 minutes on my mechanics, so aim and movement, 30 minutes in deathmatch, and around 2 hours playing ranked games daily. So that's around 20 hours per week, around 3 hours a day roughly, if I play every day, which, like I said earlier, is a similar time commitment for a part-time job, and I'm willing to spend that time on this hobby. I love it. So I think if you want to make progress quickly, you got to put in a few hours a day, especially with video games where people are literally obsessed and addicted to it. There's people that play 8 to 16 hours a day because they can't stop. So I'm competing with those people. So I need to make sure that I'm time efficient and can keep it up long term so that I can improve my skills to get above the top 1% of the player base. So some people will say that's not enough time. I've been playing for 2,000 hours and I'm still stuck in platinum or diamond, whatever. And other people will say, oh, you should be able to get Immortal in just a couple months. You know, other people have done it in less than a year, blah, blah, blah. They've probably played CSGO. I'll say, I just want to say, I think the answer probably is somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to mentally prepare myself to spend 6 to 12 months practicing Valorant to hit Immortal. I'm hesitant to put a shorter timeline on that. I think that I might be able to do it in less than 6 months, but I'm really not sure because I'm brand new to tactical FPS. So that does bring up an interesting topic though, or question is, why do some people only need a few months to climb the ranks while other people's play a lot and never seem to make any progress? I get this question a lot with aim training, and these are just 4 of many reasons that I've come up with that I've seen from myself while I try to improve at other games and realize that I've failed at. So number 1 is I'm not gonna say most people. Number 1 is some people don't have a strategic method to improve. They just play and hope to get better through implicit learning while they play. Number 2, they don't absorb enough information from videos and guides to know what info they're missing so that they can put that into their gameplay. Number 3, they waste precious brain resources and valuable feedback after dying by getting tilted and getting pissed off instead of problem solving and learning from their failures. It's okay to be angry, but if you're constantly using your mental brain power to make excuses instead of learn from your failures, you're just not going to get better over time. Number 4 is they're just not consistent for long enough to break through plateaus and get truly impressive results. So number 3 and number 4 are definitely my biggest issues. I've gotten tilted in the past. The reason that I failed to get masters in Apex arenas was because I just got too angry at the game to continue to play long enough. I'd played for about 3-4 weeks and I just could not make myself play the game anymore because I was so pissed off. So I've definitely improved since then. So it's been about a year and I've really improved. I've read several books like The Mental Game of Poker and have tried to incorporate more deep breathing while I play. Like after I die, I make it a habit to take a deep breath and then ask myself, what could I have done differently instead of, just getting pissed off immediately. So definitely improving. I'm not perfect. I'm trying to get better. Anyway, so how can you ensure that you keep improving? And this can be applied to any game, any skill that you can think of. Even if you're like a student, you could apply this to your student, learning a course. You could apply this to your job, like trying to learn skills like computer programming or typing, whatever it may be. These skills are universal, or these steps are universal to help you improve at any skill, any game that you can think of. So number 1, focus on breaking down the sub skills of the gamer skill you're trying to improve at, and improve at each sub skill kind of one by one. Figure out which is your weakness, which is your strength, and try to shore up your weaknesses first, I think is probably the best way to go about it. Number 2, analyze guides and high-level gameplay to learn new information you may be missing. So that's, reading books as well, and watching videos and listening to podcasts is also a new way to get new information into your brain and try to apply that to the skill that you're learning. Number 3, build a solid mental game so that dying, losses, lack of progress don't stop you from playing. Same thing if you're a student and you do poorly on a test. You could keep beating yourself up and just feel awful, or you could learn from your mistakes, make a plan for how you can correct it, and actually improve, right? Number 4, come up with a simple schedule that ensures you're being efficient with your time and takes advantage of those moments in your day when you feel mentally alert. I learned this as an engineer. I figured out that the time that I get the most work done is in the morning with some caffeine while I'm fasting. I just feel the best when I do that, and after lunch, I'm definitely more sluggish. So I try to take advantage of those times in my day where I'm feeling mentally alert. And also a small, simple schedule just ensures that you can stick with it long term. And this is something that you have to experiment with and try to refine over time and try different things to see what works for you individually, because everybody has kind of different time commitments and different tasks that affect, what's the best way to approach something. Anyway, so if you follow those 4 tips for gaming or really any skill, there's no doubt in my mind that you can improve. It just takes enough time for you to get good, So thanks for watching this far. I'm stoked to see how this challenge turns out. I'm going to be documenting my journey as I go along. If you guys like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. I'm Silky Crisp. Appreciate you. Again, thanks for watching. Peace out.
One enemy remaining.
Oh,
Nice shot.
I'm gonna crumb.